Professor Alan Winters, head of the economics department at the University of Sussex as well as the director of the UK Trade Policy Observatory, made the claim to a high-powered audience at the Institute for Government. Discussing the impact of Brexit on the UK's living standards, Professor Winters said, looking at GDP over the 18 months since the referendum, the UK would be £350 million worse off if we had not done Brexit. He added, a paper by the London School of Economics LSE said the fall in the exchange rate was the biggest factor in the decline in living standards, not Brexit. GettyAn economist has said Britain would be £350 million worse off if it had not voted for Brexit. Jim Halligan, co-author of the book Clean Brexit: How to Make a Success of Leaving the EU, who was also taking part in the discussion, titled The Economics of Brexit, questioned the usefulness of staying within the single market and the customs union for the UK. Mr. Halligan said, I would question how useful the single market has been to the UK. Only about 8% of companies export to the European Union. It's not necessarily useful to the UK. Same for the customs union. The single market is of questionable benefit. Friday, December 8, 2017. Here is the 15-page Brexit deal in full. Institute for Government. Their economists debate the issues surrounding Brexit, looking at GDP over the 18 months since the referendum. The UK would be £350 million worse off if we had not done Brexit. Professor Alan Winters. Mr. Halligan also questioned the rationale that a no-deal Brexit scenario, citing an interview he did with the Director General of the World Trade Organization WTO. He said, Roberto Acevedo said, the UK do around half of your trade under WTO rules. We should prepare for no deal, otherwise you are going into the discussions naked. We do a lot of trade under WTO rules. It's not a disaster. AFP EU Commission. President Jean-Claude Juncker. Reuters. Prime Minister Theresa May, International Vice President at Rand Corporation, and former U.S. Minister for Economic Affairs Charles Rees, said the EU wanted the UK to lose when it came to a trade deal. He said, the objective is to make sure the British lose. They don't want others to leave the bloc. Looking at the issue from the perspective of the US in any future trade deal between the UK and the US, he said, if the UK does a trade deal with the US, the UK has a large trade surplus with the EU and the US will want to reduce that. Despite Mr. Halligan's support for Brexit, he criticized Theresa May's administration for its poor handling of Brexit. He said, the government's doing a terrible job of selling Brexit. Mrs. May should be telling the British public the benefits, and it has some negative aspects of being outside the EU.